Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. Tonight, we've got a jaw-dropping update that could rewrite how Detroit approached the 2025 NFL Draft. Imagine this: the Detroit Lions sitting at the 22nd pick in deep negotiations not just with division foes, but with the Los Angeles Chargers. That's right. The same Chargers who ultimately stood pat to select running back Omarion Hampton were reportedly in talks with our own Brad Holmes and his front office, exploring a blockbuster trade that would have reshaped both rosters. Let's set the stage. The Chargers, under new head coach Jim Harbaugh, were widely reported to be shopping the number 22 pick. Rumors swirled around deals with Philadelphia and other suitors vying to move up or down. What slipped under the radar until now is Detroit's aggressive push to trade down for an impact edge rusher. Sources tell us that Brad Holmes openly admitted the Lions tried to slide down the board in search of a difference-maker off the edge, and the Bolts, with their draft capital, were the ideal partner. Why would Detroit covet that move? At 22, a premium pass rusher like James Pierce was still on the board. Pierce, who ultimately went number 26 to Atlanta for a king's ransom. Imagine if the Lions, instead of reaching for secondary targets, had packaged the 22nd pick with their second rounder at number 70, creating a haul that convinced LA to swap places. The Bolts might have sent back a mid-round pick, perhaps a 6th or 7th rounder, allowing Detroit to select the kind of edge speedster that can transform a defensive front overnight. Contrast that with what actually happened. The Chargers kept their pick, grabbed Hampton, and the Lions used pick 22 on a different prospect. Meanwhile, Pierce went the next slot, and Detroit watched the Falcons whet their pass rush appetite by trading down from 26 for him. Could the Lions have had Pierce in Honolulu blue and silver? It sure seems possible, given the dominoes that fell. And there's more intrigue. The Vikings at 24 had the chance to pounce, but division rival price tags are sky high. That left the Chargers, who also needed extra picks, a natural potential trade partner. Now let's ponder the what-ifs. What if Detroit had landed Pierce? Could our defense have harassed quarterbacks more consistently, flipped field, position, and swung those one-score losses into wins? Our record might look very different today, and Jared Goff's offense would be buoyed by short fields and quick turnovers. Fans are already asking, is this the moment we missed our true draft breakout? Could Holmes have orchestrated a shrewd swap, trading down smartly rather than waiting for a chance that never materialized? Some insiders believe the Chargers balked because they believed no one offered enough to deprive them of landing a particular skill position prospect. Others whisper that Holmes's asking price, 2 picks plus the 70th overall, might have been just beyond LA's comfort zone. Yet, considering how quickly picks change hands, a compromise could have sealed the deal. And it's hard to ignore the symmetry. The Bolts were looking for picks, the Lions were looking for impact players, and both need upside. That alignment almost screams match made in trade land. Of course, all this remains speculative until someone in the organization confirms the private discussions. But when the architect of Detroit's draft admits, "We tried to trade down and couldn't get it done," it's fair to infer the Chargers were a primary target. Now, as we watch Omarion Hampton's rookie campaign unfold, and as James Pierce terrorizes quarterbacks in Atlanta, Lions fans can't help but wonder if the front office misread market value or simply lost out in the negotiating room. As the draft class matures and rookie contracts play out, the gulf between a mid-round developmental rusher and a premium edge prospect becomes glaring. Detroit's defense, while improved, still seeks that game-changing presence off the edge. Could a single trade have packed enough punch to flip the balance? Was Holmes too conservative with pick 70? Or did he overestimate the market's willingness to pay? These questions linger as we build toward next year's draft. Will the Lions learn from this near miss and swing more boldly? Or will they find themselves on the other side of another trade talk that leaves fans craving what might have been? Stay tuned to Lions News Fan Report for more insider breakdowns. reaction from local beat writers, and our own takes on how Detroit can convert lessons from 2025 into a blueprint for future draft triumphs. The chatter won't die down until Brad Holmes stands at the podium with a grin, announcing a blockbuster that answers every what if once and for all. Until then, we'll keep dissecting every rumor, every tweet, and every front office whisper, because here, Motor City, we demand clarity, boldness, and above all, results. If you're as riveted by this draft day drama as I am, hit that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and turn on notifications right now, because we're about to explore exactly how Detroit can turn a missed opportunity into fuel for next year's championship push. Imagine this. It's mid-2026, and the Lions' defense has transformed into a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. The roar at Ford Field isn't just from Jared Goff's heroics. It's the cumulative impact of a homegrown edge rusher who terrorizes backfields every Sunday. That player could have been James Pierce had Detroit pulled the trigger on that trade with the Chargers. But all is not lost. Brad Holmes and company can use the lessons learned to strike more aggressively next time. First, Detroit must refine its draft valuation model. Instead of defaulting to safe picks at 22, the front office needs to identify the positions of greatest impact, like true edge speed, and be willing to package picks 22 and 70 in combined deals. If that sounds bold, consider the payoffs. Teams that trade up for difference makers often see immediate returns, whereas safe, single-pick gambles can leave talent on the board. This year's narrow misses underscore the importance of decisive action when top prospects align with team needs. Second, the Lions should cultivate stronger trade relationships. The Chargers' example shows how quickly talks can stall. Next time, Detroit's brass must engage multiple partners, Vikings, Saints, maybe even the Raiders, to create competitive tension. When 2 or 3 teams covet the same pick swap, prices inflate, and the Lions can extract maximum value. This kind of marketplace savvy transforms near misses into leverage. Third, player development becomes paramount. Whether it's a rookie edge rusher from round 3 or a veteran signed off the street, Detroit's coaching staff must accelerate growth. If Brad Holmes can't land Pierce or an equivalent, then nurturing a 3rd or 4th round talent into a breakout star is the next best route. Hidden gems who thrive in Dan Campbell's aggressive defensive scheme can replicate the impact Detroit hoped to buy at 22. Finally, open communication with the fan base will restore confidence. Acknowledging the trade talks, without nitpicking, demonstrates transparency. Sharing the front office's vision for the next draft, complete with potential targets and evaluation criteria, rallies the faithful behind Holmes's decisions. When fans feel included in the process, they're more forgiving of near misses and more energized by the team's long-term plan. So, Motor City, what's the takeaway? The 2025 draft flirtation with the Chargers was a tantalizing what-if moment, one that exposed both Detroit's ambition and its hesitancy. But rather than dwell on lost chances, the Lions must channel that energy into a more aggressive, relationship-driven, and development-focused strategy. Because in the NFL, momentum isn't given. It's seized by teams that learn, adapt, and strike when their window opens. That's the blueprint for turning near-miss regrets into future glory. I believe in this team, in Brad Holmes, and in Dan Campbell's vision. We've tasted the tantalizing possibilities. Now it's time to devour them. Thanks for joining this deep dive on Lions News Fan Report. Drop your thoughts below. Do you want Holmes to swing big next draft? Who should Detroit target if they again trade down? I can't wait to read your takes. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep roaring and keep believing, because the best is yet to come for our Lions.